Hello there, YouTube. It's your boy Ren, and today we're going to be looking at a new episode that just dropped from Square Enix called episode Ardyn. It's basically a prologue to a new DLC that's coming out for this game called Final Fantasy 15. If you haven't played it, it's a game I highly recommend. It's an awesome game. I can't go into all the details of what the game's about and all of that because it's just way too broad and it's gonna take up it needs an entire video of its own. So I'm just gonna watch this episode and let you guys know what I think. The episode centered around the main villain of the game called his name is Ardyn, and he was this very arresting character. Why every time he was on screen, he absolutely stole the scene, and we've always wanted to know what his story is, how did he become the evil guy that he is now, and they basically released this video to let us know. So now I'm just gonna watch it and I'll give my honest reactions. Hope you enjoy. What is? You gotta fight some demons. Wow, there's a lot of dead bodies though. That Gilgamesh. That actually Gilgamesh. It was the right hand of the king, the first king. That's what it said.
選ばれし真の王の御代からおよそ2000年ほど前、死骸と呼ばれる化け物の蔓延により、この地は衰微していた。領主の一つであるチェラム家は、神より授かった力を用いて、死骸を打ち続けることにより人々を掌握し、その勢力を拡大していった。各領主の間で、チェラム家を名手として擁立する声が高まった頃、神々もまた彼らの中から王となる者を選定しようとしていた。絶対的な君主として史上初の王国を築く者。候補は2人。1人は野心家、類まれなる統率力でチェラム家を束ねる弟、ソムヌス・ルシス・チェラム。1人は聖人、慈愛の持ち、己の力のすべてを民に捧げる兄、アーデン・ルシス・チェラム。私はカンナギ。神々の声を聞く者として、神託の時を待っている。
Who's it gonna be? Ardyn or Somnus? That's a question, isn't it?
アーデン様、いかがなさりました？いや、ソムヌス様は死骸化したもの、その途中だったもの、疑わしきもの。あなた様の弟には、みんなまとめて焼いてしまう。
Come on, though. Somnus is losing my trust, yo.
わかりました。
I don't trust anyone who uses that as a way to solve their problems. Just kill everyone who might have a chance. Cool. Yeah, now we begin to see the Jesus parallels, Yeah. because Jesus in the Bible basically took the sins of people into himself, and it seems Caleb is doing the same thing. He's taking the demons into himself. We'll see how that works out for him. You can't have a good ending though. I mean, if you take demons into yourself, there's basically one ending for you though.
決して化け物などと蔑み排除することがあってはならない。
Again, another parallel.
いくら地の力があるとはいえ、
sits with the Gentiles. Do not push them away just because they sin.
身内が焼かれて同じことが言えるのか。どうすればいい。ふざけるな。俺たちに何ができる。アーデン様、我らの王はあなた様だけです。そうだ、アーデン様。あなたなら。私は王の座に興味がない。しかし、病の根絶につながるのなら、より多くの民が救われるのなら、喜んで王となろ
う。お分かりですか？こうして城から抜け出したあなたに会いに来るのに、どれだけ苦労したことか。
考え事をしていたんだ。一つだけ言わせてもらえれば、苦労したのは君ではなく、あの者たちだろう。
婚約者を放り出してフラフラしてるあなたに言われたこと
Oh no. Oh no, she's Ardyn's fiancé. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. This can't end well. This cannot end well.
一体どれくらい昔のものなのかしら。
さあ、わからないんだ。いつ、誰が、何のために作ったのか。自然に忘れ去られたのか、意図的に歴史から消されたのか。ここを作った者の名は誰にもわからない。
大丈夫。他の誰かがあなたのことを忘れても。私が覚えているから。
That's a red flag. She's dead. She's dead. That's a death flag. She's dead. Ah. Oh, someone's chasing him. I thought he was basically like the king. Who has enough power to chase him? Oh, yeah, his brother. Yeah, his brother. But why are they chasing him though? What are they gonna do? I don't think they can kill him, right? Yeah, the demons are going to overwhelm him.
失礼します。聞いての通り、逃げられたよ。今ならまだ婚約者と共に、辺境の地で末永く暮らしていただけだ。さて、そろそろ信託の。
That's a life of royals, yo. If you've read any Chinese translated novels or Korean translated novels, you basically know that all royals have this problem and that the brothers always fight for the throne. It's always a bloody struggle. No.
カンナギ殿、神々は何と。ではクリスタル。
クリスタルに意志はありません。
That is an interesting point. I didn't know that.
ソムヌス、信じて良いのですね、あなたを。神々は
心配しましたぞ。夜になってもお戻りになられず、しかもあの大雨では。世話になったな。アーデン様、昨夜信託が下されました。アーデン・ルシス・チェラム様、あなたが王に指名されました。
Ardyn was king. So he was telling the truth, actually. The gods chose him to be king. Which means... Somnus, what are you going to do?
兄上、俺なんだよ。聞け！神々が選んだのは俺だ。
I knew it. I knew it.
皆を騙す形になったことに謝罪しよう。 しかしこうして民衆を扇動していた反逆者をおびき出すことができた。それにしても浅ましい男だ。
It's impressive how calm he is right now. It's like he expected this the whole time.
神々を仰せる。ソムヌスルシス・チェラムが王であると。
ソムヌス、私を切れるか。命まではと、今よりチェラム家の名を捨て。
Oh god, so another one falls. It's always this way, isn't it? The demon loses someone he loves and then descends. He falls. Why do people do this? You know, don't mess with a man's wife or fiancé or something like that. You can turn even the most innocent of men into the vilest of murderers to do something like this. Oh, those ungrateful assholes. They called him a monster. Yeah. Ah, now it's 2 against 1. Down hunting team. Yo, Final Fantasy, you can say anything like what about that game, but the OSTs have always been on another level. Oh my god, this soundtrack. You can feel his desperation. Trading.
これが答えなのか。王たる資格。
Oh no.
"不死の化け物と化していた彼はアダギウムと呼ばれ、御影島に幽閉され、長きにわたり王家に対する憎悪を募らせていった。
2,000 years living like this. What do you expect? It's gonna become a monster, basically. Yeah, I'm even surprised he wasn't even more unhinged when he finally started enacting his plan. Because, come on. No. Yo, look, okay. Ardyn he was a bad guy, okay, he was a villain. There's no question in that. His actions were unjustified and all of that, but yo, when you push to the brake like he was, oh my god. I think everyone possible betrayed him. Like, oh my god. I'm just gonna wait for the ending for this last tune to pass before I give my thoughts. Just appreciate this beautiful music. There's more. Oh, okay, this is the actual game itself. So this is the actual DLC.
Now, let the fireworks begin!
Do forgive me for interrupting the festivities, but I must tell you, this day of rapturous revelry shall be your last. Call it divine retribution. False kings and fraudulent nations are fated to perish. Resist if you wish, but know that your fight against fate is a foolish and futile one.
Somnus. That's right. Kill her. Put that monster out of its misery, just like I did.
You must live.
I'll never forget you. Somnus.
Grant me the power to take Somnus, his people, and his cursed kingdom, and burn them all to the ground! Adagium. In the flesh. Here to bring the bloodline of Lucis to an end. Brother. Somnus. Now? But I'm having so much fun! To think I get the pleasure of killing you myself. Lies, fairy tales, and fallacies. All of it.
Ardyn, Lucius, Chiron, I command thee to halt.
And I do not intend to kneel before you now.
So that's how he went crazy. So that's we're gonna get that. All right. So let's just go over this episode. What do we see? All right. We saw the descent of a man who basically was giving everything he was to the people, and he lost everything. He lost his loved one, and he descended into hell. You know, basically he became the worst kind of being there was when he went for revenge. And here's the thing, though. I saw a lot of parallels between his story, Ardyn's story, and Jesus in the Bible. First of all right, let's take the obvious one. Okay, he was taking sins unto himself. All right, basically like Jesus on the cross when they said he took all the sins of the world on the cross, and you know he dragged it up there and then got crucified and everything. So yeah, he was carrying all this. So Ardyn took all the sins, all the demons, if you want to. Let's take the demons of the world. He took all of them into himself. That was what he was trying to do, was in the process of doing. And in the process, he was injuring himself, killing himself, hurting himself. And there's something that... Here's the thing now. If you're going for that route, you know, you can only have one ending, okay? If you go the route of taking the sins of the entire world onto yourself, there's only one ending. Okay, let's say two. Actually, there are two, sorry. The first ending is that, you know, it's the obvious one, you're gonna die, okay? That's the only way it can end. If we assume he was successful and was able to take every single demon scourge in the world, you know, every single one into himself, you know, there's only conclusion after that is to die, because if he doesn't die, then maybe one day he might, you know, infect someone else. So when he has taken this scourge from everyone, he's gonna have to die at the end. And I think he was aware of that. I think he was aware that was gonna be his end, because he didn't seem too fazed, even when his brother betrayed him. You know, he didn't seem too fazed by the prospect of death. I think his only, you know, violent reaction happened when, you know, Era died. That was the only time he actually, you know, lost his shit, you know, his mind. So I don't think, you know, just the prospect of death really fazed him that much, because I think he was aware that that was the only logical conclusion to his path. So first of all, if you keep that in mind, you already have an idea of this is a man who is ready to die to save the world. Okay, so he's beyond even the level of just your average day superhero. Okay, the average day superhero might want to save the world, but are they ready to die for it? No, this man is not just ready to put his life on the line, but he's already aware that what he's doing is literally killing himself. But he's willing to go on with it, and I really appreciate that, and I really respected that about him. And then there's also there are more parallels to draw. Okay, there's the parallel of, you know, him saying we should not, you know, just judge them because they have this sickness and then try to kill them. No, he's like, we should bring them in, try and heal them because they're still one of us. Basically the same with Jesus in the Bible saying things like, do not judge the Gentiles, do not judge those who sin, blah blah blah. They're still part of us. You see your neighbors, talk to them, be friends with them, and other stuff. And then there's more. Okay, at the end, near the end, when he's going up, and he's like, when he touches the crystal, and he's like, am I let the world know I'm your king? The crystal rejects him. Okay, and the first thing that came to my mind was Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. For those of you who don't know, it basically means my God, why have you forsaken me? And it's this phrase in the Bible where Jesus says when he's on the cross, and God basically in the Bible said God turned his back on him because at that point Jesus was so full of sin that even the Lord could not look upon him. Okay, so the Lord turned his back on him. So it's like, that's a lot of parallels to draw. Okay, so it was like, yeah, this dude was destined to die from the beginning, and so the routes he should have taken. So this is where the problem now comes in. Okay, this is where what happened, where something I find interesting comes in. If he had become king, I think what could have happened was the gods could have found a way to purify the thingy in him, or they might have found a way to kill him. And then by killing him, they purify all the demons in the world. But because Somnus interfered, he basically broke that cycle, okay? Because if you think about it, the parallel with Jesus is the same way, okay? Jesus came, he picked up the cross, he died, and then, but all of that was preordained by God, So when you take that parallel to Ardyn was supposed to come in, take all the sins into himself, and then basically die, from the gods making him die, purifying the world through his death. But because it was a mortal that interfered and then messed up the plan, so he didn't become king. And because he didn't become king, he didn't have access to the gods' powers to directly heal him because he's no longer king. And then it just messed everything up, okay? Because I'm pretty sure what was supposed to happen was he wasn't supposed to go full demon before he became king. So that, and because once he became full demon, I think at that point he was past, the god's method of recovery or healing or whatever. I think that's when he lost any chance of being redeemed. Okay, so I think that what the gods wanted was while he's still human, full human, he comes up, becomes the king, and they can maybe either A purify him completely, or B, just kill him, and then get rid of the scourge completely. But as I said, Somnus interfered because he wanted to be king instead, and his actions makes Ardyn become a demon completely, and because of that, the crystal rejects him. Okay, and he loses everything. Now, let me move on to the second thing I picked up from this video. Is there's this thing that people were saying that Ardyn does not have any reason to go after innocence the way he did in the future. In basically present time in the games where he's full-blown evil now. He's making empires fight each other, killing a lot of innocents, unleashing demons into the world. And it's like, first of all, you have to take into consideration that this man was locked in prison in solitary confinement for thousands of years, okay? And if you keep a man in solitary confinement, I'm just going to go to the video again. I'm going to look for that scene. It's a scene where he's look at this. Okay, he has this dark area place. There's just darkness around him. Okay, the screen is dark, his silhouette is dark, and what this brings to mind is he's locked alone in a dark place, okay, where you can only see his eyes. Okay, so he's locked alone there, so he's by himself without human contact in darkness. All right, studies have shown that if you lock an average man in solitary confinement just for a few days, it can mess him up. Lock him for a few weeks and it can have irreversible damage to his mental state. Lock him up for a few years in solitary confinement and they completely go crazy. Now this is not just solitary confinement, okay? This is solitary confinement in darkness, so he can't even see anything, he can't hear anything, and I'm pretty sure they don't give him food because he's immortal, so he can't even die. So he's just there by himself. All right, think about that. And all he has, so during this period, all he has to himself are his thoughts. All right, and what do you think is the one thing he'll be thinking of? His hatred. Okay, because the last thing he can remember is his brother killing the woman he loved. Okay, is the gods betraying him and the people calling him a monster. Those are the last thing he recalls. So So those are the three thoughts. That are the three thoughts that dominate his entire stay in the prison. Okay, in solitary confinement. That's all he's thinking about, and it's just powerful because yeah, if that's all in your head during that period, you're going to become a perverted person. Okay, your character is going to become perverted. There are no two ways about it. Okay, it just is what it is, and yeah, I can't blame Ardyn for becoming what he became because, I mean, the recipe for disaster was there from the beginning. Okay, he was always gonna fall, and there's no innocent party in this. Okay, first of all, let's go with the gods. Okay, the reason why Ardyn hated the gods and the crystal so much was the gods initially gave him, like I said, the gods initially gave him the kingship. Okay, and I'm sure he knew that they were using him to defeat the blight. They needed his ability to take the blight into himself, and they were going to sacrifice him. I'm pretty sure he knew about that because that was the most obvious conclusion to his powers. That's why he's like, he has no desire to be king, but if it's what is needed to make his, let me just see if I can find that scene. He tells his people, come on, where is it? Yeah, so he's like, yeah, I'm just, okay, yeah. Where is that? Yeah.
あなたなら私は王の座に興味がない。しかし、病の根絶につながるのなら、より多くの民が救われるのなら、喜んで王となろう。
Yeah, so when he says this, most people would think that he's saying that just by becoming king, the scourge will purge. But that is not a realistic, there has to be a process. Just because he became king and has more power doesn't mean the scourge is automatically gone. So he had to know that somehow his becoming king would help the scourge to be purged. Okay, and the only way he can think of that happening through his own means is that he takes the scourge into himself, and the gods either purify it from his body or they kill him and take it away. So he's prepping himself up for sacrifice. He knows that that's going to happen. Okay, that's why even though he doesn't want to be king, he knows that being king might be the avenue for the gods to be able to fix this issue or whatever. And yeah, so in terms of the gods, they betrayed him because when he finally got there, he's ready to sacrifice himself for the cause. Okay, so he's there now. He's like, okay, I'm king. And then his brother comes up and is like, no, you're not king. I'm still in your throne. Okay, and he's like, oh, what if I object? Okay, he's objecting not because he wants to be king, but because he can see the larger goal. Okay, this is not about who wants to be king. This is about saving the world. Okay, so again, what people might not understand is the reason why he objects in this scene. Why he says, what if I object? Yeah. Now the reason, like I said, the reason why he objects isn't because he wants to be king. It's because he can see the ramifications of Somnus becoming king. Because Somnus's method of wiping out everyone who's possibly infected isn't going to work. Okay, because there will always be someone. He believes that there will always be someone that gets away. Okay, but because if you're wiping out everyone, people are going to start hiding. Okay, so if someone has a plague, and let's just put it in realistic terms. Okay, let's say we're living in modern day Britain here. Okay, and there's a new plague that runs out, and then the government, instead of finding a way to quarantine and try and solve the issue, they start gunning down on the streets anyone who they suspect of having this plague or this issue, right? Because they believe it's the fastest way to get rid of it. If your daughter or your brother has this disease, chances are you're gonna hide them somewhere. Okay, you're gonna either hide them in a bunker or you're gonna find a place to hide them so that they escape the killing and everything. Now compare that if there's a healer in Britain, okay, a magnificent healer who can heal all diseases and everything. Okay, so no matter how terrible diseases he heals it, you don't care what the method is, how he does it. Okay, all you care about is that your kid is healed. Okay, maybe someone might be out there saying he takes the disease into his own body. You don't care. Okay, all you care about is that your daughter is healed. So you're gonna bring your kids over there, your brother over there, your mother over there, your daughter over there, whatever. You're gonna bring them over there and be like, yo, heal my kid. Okay, so you're gonna bring them out, and that's a faster way to get rid of the scourge or the plague or the whatever it is that disturbing the country at that time. Okay, so yeah, in terms of feasibility, Ardyn's method is much better if the gods give him the power to resist a bit more. Because right now he doesn't really have as much power to resist, because he, as we can see, he's fallen to the dark side a bit. Not that he's not actually falling, but the demons are eating him up from within. He's resisting, but again, he doesn't have the strength of a king, so he's not as powerful, right? So then Somnus destroys that. Okay, so he now goes to the gods and he's like, okay, look, my brother has betrayed me, my fiance is dead, but like, okay, just let the people know at least. Okay, let the people know who the true king is. Okay, let them just tell them, right? But the gods betray him. All right, the gods, they basically reject him. All right. Now there's two possibilities here. Okay, the first is that it's the gods that rejected him. All right. Because why? But the thing is that I don't feel there's something that is weird about this, because personally I don't think the gods directly rejected him in this scene that we see here, because the level of his animosity towards the gods in the game isn't as much as it is towards the crystal and the royal family. Okay, I think the crystal, like I said, the crystal has no will of its own. We saw that scene earlier. So I think the crystal is like a computer, and it just has a set of codes and purposes which it has to fulfill, and it just does them the way it knows how. Okay, so probably the crystal sees the scourge as a threat. Okay, the scourge is a threat, it has to be eliminated. That's all it sees it as. So when he comes on and he's like, yo, save me, I'm sorry, who's a true king, let the world know. The crystal feels the demons in him and is like, nah boy, you're not the one. Okay, you have the demons in you, bounce, and basically rejects him. And that that ends his chances of being the king. Okay, and because of that he falls even deeper, he loses the fight, and he gets imprisoned. So I believe that's why he hates the crystal so much. But even when talking to the gods, to Shiva, because in the game he has this jovial, this flamboyant attitude when he's talking to Shiva, he doesn't really completely hate her as much as he hates the crystal itself. Okay, so I think he doesn't really hate the gods. He might not like them, because part of everything is they also have some faults in all of this, but he doesn't completely hate them. Not as much as he hates the crystal who rejected him, and as much as he hates his brother who betrayed him and made him lose his name. And interestingly enough, also not as much as he hates the regular common people who, keep in mind, called him a monster. Okay, because these are not people that didn't know him. These were people who came with him after realizing that he's going to be king. These are people that he has saved. He has saved their brothers, he has saved their friends, he has saved their lovers, he has saved their mothers. He has taken all their demons into himself. But when he loses his control, because he lost his wife, this is what they say. They're shouting, what's happening? He's a monster. Look at the dress. These aren't real gods. Okay, look at the clothes. These are peasants. Okay, so these are normal, regular people that he saved. And they're just screaming, he's a monster, and they run away from him. Okay, so as far as he's concerned, he has risked his life. He has done all this, and these peasants have basically dubbed him a monster. Okay, and if you think about it, there's no way his name would have been forgotten if the peasants, still revered him. Okay, because you can block things in the royal library. You can say, don't talk about this guy, but peasants have a way of passing down information through things like folktales. Okay, they can tell their kids, once upon a time a man lived, blah blah blah, he did this, he did that, he was a hero, he died, and they keep passing the story down to their kids. Okay, but that didn't happen. Okay, Ardyn's name was forgotten, which means the peasants also, they saw him as a monster and they didn't talk about him anymore. Okay, sorry. Yeah, we didn't talk about him anymore. So I feel that's one of the reasons why he also hates the common people, and why he had no qualms killing millions of people when he was taking his revenge. Okay, so look, I'm not justifying anything he did. This is just looking at his reasoning. Okay, the path to which took him to become the monster he was. And the interesting thing about this is, if you play the game, Final Fantasy 15, Ardyn is actually the most underdeveloped and most developed character. And why do I say this? It's because he doesn't really get much screen time in the game, But if you read between the lines and you look at the ending of the game, you realize he's the only character who got everything he wanted. Okay, now what I mean by that, Ardyn had two main goals. Okay, the first was to end the Kallian bloodline. Okay, that's the bloodline of his brother. He wanted to end it, cut it short. The second was to actually die because he was tired of living. He didn't want to live on the earth much longer. He needed to die. And the only person who could do that was Noct. Okay, so, and at the same time, there was a third underlying goal which most people would have, they didn't notice, and it was that he completed his role. He completed his Jesus role, which was interrupted by his brother. All right, and what I mean by that, remember when I said he had to take all the sins into himself and then get purified? That's what he became. By the time the game rose up, by the end of the game, he's basically the embodiment of the Scourge. Okay. By the time the end of the game comes out, he is basically the embodiment of the Scourge. Okay, he's everything people feared. Okay, because he has all the Scourge in him, and if they eliminate him, the Scourge ends. Okay, so he has finally gotten the role which he wanted to play at the beginning of this episode, Ardyn. The role of the martyr. Okay, that was his role all along. He was always supposed to be the martyr, but his role was interrupted by his brother. And now, by the end of episode 15, the canon ending, he gets to reprise that role, okay, because he takes the Scourge into himself, all of it. Now, some people might think he just did that for power, but he was already much stronger than, Noct. Way, way stronger than Noct throughout the entire game. He could have killed Noct anytime he wanted. But he didn't, okay? He needed Noct to become as strong as he eventually became, so that he could have Noct end him. Alright, now, what does Noct ending him, accomplish? The first is to actually end him. Noct needs to sacrifice himself. In the canon ending, episode Ignis changed some things. They changed the ending, give it an alternate ending where everyone survives and happy and la la. But the canon ending, okay, the initial ending, Noct has to sacrifice himself. He needs to kill himself in order to kill Ardyn. Okay, there's no other way. Noct has to sacrifice himself. So Noct kills himself, and in the process gains power enough, sacrifices himself to the gods, and in the process gains enough power to end Ardyn. Okay, now Ardyn, by his death, Ardyn has eliminated Noctis' bloodline. Okay, he has eliminated the Kylan bloodline because Noctis is the last heir. There's no other heir. Noctis is dead. He himself dies. Okay, so he finally gets the peace that he always wanted, and perhaps most importantly, the Scourge is also ended. Okay, the Scourge ends after he dies, so his Jesus role is complete. He has completed his passage. Okay, and it's so mind blowing how intricate it was. Okay, and this episode, Ardyn, I believe, especially this prologue, it just proved to me something that I'd always thought, that Ardyn wasn't just this one-dimensional villain. There were layers to him. He had so many things he wanted to accomplish, and by the end of the game, he's the ultimate winner. I mean, the world survives because of his sacrifice, so he gets, even though the world doesn't, know what he did, it doesn't matter, okay, because first of all, people remember his name now properly as Ardyn. They will remember who he is. 2, he has saved the world. He has completed his job of saving the world. Doesn't matter if they care, if they know it, because again, he was never about the glory. Okay, you can see that by the fact that he didn't want to become king. Ardyn was never about the glory. He was just about the purpose, and he completed that. Okay, and finally, I can't, finally, he got his revenge. He ended everyone. He ended the Kylan bloodline, and he's a great character. Okay? I really admire the character, not his actions, but I admire the character. Because as an author myself, when I say a well-written character, a well-developed character, I really enjoy it. I wish he got a bit more screen time in the game, but all these added bits and pieces, when you read into the lore, the little compendiums you find in the game, you get to find out a lot more about him. And yeah, he's the most developed character in the game who wasn't developed at all. and you know, I love him for that. Okay, I love him for that. So anyway, I'm gonna bring this to a close. I don't know. I have no idea how long this has been going on. If you enjoyed this, you know, consider getting the game if you haven't already bought Final Fantasy 15 for some reason. You know, go get it. Get the Royal Edition. You know, play it and prepare yourself for episode Ardyn. Okay, I suggest you get it. I'll most definitely get it if I'm not broke. Because, you know, we broke. So if you'll enjoy this, you know, leave a like in the comments, subscribe, and see y'all. Leave a like. What I said. If you enjoyed this, leave a like. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and you know, subscribe. You can tell I'm new to this. Yeah, smash that subscribe button. The more we grow, the more views I get, the more money I have. You know, and maybe I could actually, you know, put up some posters on my wall. You know, not let it be so empty and dreary all the time. You know. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a nice day. This is Ren from Janako Novels signing out.